Hi guys, welcome to the channel. My name is CeeChronicles and I post fragrance related content on this platform. If you're new and you love fragrance reviews, please consider subscribing and joining the family. Now if you're returning, thank you so much for the continued support. I have a couple of rose scented fragrances that I picked as my favorites from some of my favorite houses, right? And I'm going to show you each one of them and tell you what the rose is doing in what. From the house of Swiss Arabian chose Rose 01. This is a fragrance that's been in my collection for a long time, but it's definitely going to tick the boxes for a lot of people who love rose scented scents. This has that similarity to that Delina, so the con to it, if you don't love Delina, is you probably don't need to add this one because it does smell a lot like Delina, the original, not even the exclusive. So this is Swiss Arabian's interpretation of that fragrance. I love how long lasting this fragrance is. I also love how fruity it feels despite it being a rose scented scent. The lychee is really highlighted here, pushed forward as well, by that citrusy feel from the bergamot, adding an aquatic feel to the presentation of this rose. It's sweet, it's fresh, it's fruity, it's long lasting, and one of those fragrances that will really go at the top of your list if you love rose scented fragrances. So the very first one on the lineup, guys, Rose 01 from the house of Swiss Arabian. Next up is going to be Intense Cafe. Okay, if you're looking, of course, first of all, for a rosy scent with coffee, tying everything together there to give it some level of darkness and density, then this is going to be for you. So this is going to be a rose scented scent, but presenting as thick, even gooey, because of the coffee note. And the coffee note, respecting itself, not enough to cross over to turning this into a coffee scent. It still remains and maintains the feel of the rose, with that spiciness about it, also falling under some of those fragrances that you can call dark. So second on the lineup, guys, it is from the house of Montale, and this is Intense Cafe. Then we have my newest love, my obsession for now, Miel Obscura from the house of Paris Corner. I'm not sure whether I'm going to have, would have posted the Paris Corner video where I did a full review of this, or this is going to come first. I don't know, guys. Miel Obscura is one of those fragrances that I just find myself dousing myself into. It's one of the latest releases from the house of Paris Corner. Nicely done rose in honey. This presents that rose, okay, in spices, in a sweet caramel without it being childish. Also presents other florals apart from just the rose, but there is a sophistication about this fragrance. The spices just marry everything together to make it beautiful, and then it dries down to a sort of like a piney thing, or a piney woody thing, that gives it kind of like a mature appeal about it. It also has like a sourish note about it. Some are going to perceive that note as green, but it's beautiful. You cannot call this one an outright fruity scent. You cannot call it an outright floral scent, but it's just nicely done. Breath of fresh air. I haven't come across multiple DNAs that smell like this. This has been compared, and I have a vial of Amouage Journey, to Amouage Journey. I do get a likeness of that in this, but this is pretty much on the lighter side, and I absolutely love it, guys. So if you're looking for a rose in honey, then this is for you. I'm actually noticing that there's a bee there. I hadn't even paid attention to that. So this is the third one from the house of Paris Corner, one that actually went up there as a good smelling rose scent to my nose. And then we have this baby here. I told you that if I get this, I'm going to bring it to you. This is Rose Eclat from the house of Orientica. This is a new fragrance in my collection, but I've played around with it, and okay, I am going to burst your bubble. For those who were expecting it to be very distant from Delina, unfortunately it's not. So this seems to be Orientica's interpretation, of that Delina scent. Okay, now I don't have a problem with this. I love it. I love that Orientica seems to be giving us a lot of releases this year, because they're one house that kept us hanging for a while. So it does seem like this year they've stepped up the game. They have given us pistachio, they've given us cafe or something, that yummy caramel gourmand. They gave us my most favorite, which is this one. This one, okay, this one. Desert Dusk. I love Desert Dusk. And now we have this, and of course a couple of other male scented DNAs which come in the square bottles. Now this is going to be a presentation of that rose and peony, okay, but there is an inclusion of the note of violet in this, which I feel is adding somewhat of a powdery accord in this. Now, as I said, this one feels a lot like Delina. It could be that is how they interpreted the incensey note that you get in Delina. There's also more fruitiness to this, maybe like a peachy nectarous thing to this, but it doesn't stray that much. Now, for those who may be wondering, I said Delina here, I said Delina here, which is which? This to me feels like Delina on steroids. You know, I know Delina itself is a very strong, long-lasting scent, okay, and I've come multiple times, guys, telling you that Swiss Arabian didn't come to play when it comes to this. Let me show you my dent. I've had this one for more than maybe 3 years, and this is where it's at. It's not one fragrance that you can spray like crazy because it's long-lasting. So what am I saying, right? Because now I have two, and this is Delina. Delina in itself is a strong scent. It's a long-lasting scent. Some people don't like how it just doesn't go away, and that is sort of what you get, you know, from this, almost on a one-on-one basis, but kind of feeling like there's a higher oil concentration in this. And then Orientica, you know, goes on to give us Rose Eclat. This is the same feel of that rose and peony, but in this case a little bit lighter on what I perceive as incense in this and this. Okay, yes, does interpret that incense note. Remember I said there is that violet, which could be, you know, the note that they used there to interpret the powdery feel of the incense that you get in the original Delina. It has that, but it's not as potent as this or this. This has a little bit of what I would say my nose perceives as nectarous, and obviously having this in my collection is one of the latest fragrance edition. I'm going to have it sit out and see how it goes, but it's not bad. It's a beautiful fragrance. If you love Delina, you're going to love this. If you love exclusive as well, you're going to love this, because there's Delina and then there's Delina exclusive. So if you love exclusive, you're going to love it as well. But it's here, guys, for the use of a rose note from the house of Orientica. I would say this one goes up there in terms of a favorite rose of mine from the house. It's a Rose Eclat. And then we have another latest obsession. This is not new, okay? Afnan 9 p.m. Perfume. It's not new. It's a fragrance that's been about the block for a while, but it's new in my collection. I have it in vial form, but full bottle is on its way. I'm going to have the full bottle, of course, on the side of the screen so that you guys can have visual, you know, picture of the bottle. It's a purple one in the 9 p.m. range. This is that rose, okay? Rose in peony again, but this time in a very happy raspberry. So this is going to be very berry forward, berry blast, okay? Very uplifting mood, lifting, happy scent, jammy, concentrated as well, sweet, and then enters what feels like a purple accord. They have put the note of violet and iris, and violet and iris used here, I would say, as fantasy notes, give this one sort of like that purple accord, something like, you know, how this purple is looking, but now imagine it as something that you would eat, or if you can put your imagination of color to smell. This is a quintessential purple scent to my nose. Feels as though the inspiration was from Atomic Rose, but I don't know, there's something about this that just makes me think it's doing more. It's very sweet, concentrated, lush, luxurious. I cannot fault it. It's a nice one. Okay, so from the house of Afnan, I'm going to say my favorite rose scent from their brand is going to be Afnan 9 p.m. Perfume. And then from French Avenue, we're gonna give Gracia Rosa is Flowers. Okay, I had to chill when it came to this, the usage of it, because my daughter said, oh, we can't exactly see how much is left, and you're going on and on using this fragrance, you know, I like it, and you promised to give me, because initially I promised to give her, And then I had second thoughts. This is a fragrance in the same fragrance family as Liquids Imaginaires Dom Rosa, and they nailed it. This is rose and peony, but this time in champagne, right? And I like that the champagne in here does not really give it sort of like a boozy thing, but it just gives it like a sparkly, underlying, slightly sour feel, which mixing with that rose then gives us like a lemony, rosy feel, jammy feel. This is beautiful. It also has that aldehydic thing encoded in a way to remind you of some air, you know, fresh air, breathing into fresh air, or into fruity fresh air, if there's anything like that. But of course, keeping the rose and making sure that the rose is highlighted. This is Gracia Rosa from the House of French Avenue. That's on the lineup, guys, and not limited to, but I just had to put this one as last so that we don't go in on and on, is Noble Blush from the House of Latafa. This I selected as one of Latafa's best rose scents because of how they were able to use the note of rose together with milk. Okay, so there's a rose milk listed as a note here, and you will get that. What the rose milk does in this is to present a rosy, peony, soft, creamy scent with a velvety finish. So that milky accord as that velvety finish. You're going to get some people saying this is gourmand, it smells yummy, and that is exactly what this is doing. It also is very sweet because of the inclusion of sugar. At some points with that milk, you're going to get what of an almond, you know, like a nutty almond. I like this fragrance. I know it might not be a favorite for everybody, and to each their own. It was a pleasant surprise, guys, in their Berial Oud line, Noble Blush, and it is a very long lasting. So if you're looking for rose, so a creamy rosy scent, then certainly look at adding Noble Blush from the House of Latafa, and this is the last one on the lineup. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is C Chronicles. Let me know in the comment section what your favorite rose scented scents are. I just picked a couple of, or one of each from each house, but it's not limited to, you know, these guys keep giving us fragrances and fragrances, so they're gonna have other rose fragrances. Just throw them there and we can discuss in the comment section. Remember to turn on post notifications, guys. That way you get to be notified anytime I upload a video. Like and share this one, and remember that smelling good is a form of good manners. Cheers.